right. Hello, Internet. Welcome to my presentation. When in history could humanity have first slain a dragon? In order to answer this question, the first thing we're going to need to understand is what kind of dragon are we talking about here? I will be talking about a standard Western dragon. We'll go over some key skills of this type of dragon. First, it's huge. It has scales and big claws, and of course, there's the big three. You're going to need to remember the big three, so take a mental note for this. The big three are: is smart, can fly, breathes fire. Is smart, can fly, breathes fire. Remember that for later. Now, we'll start with prehistory. We've got prehistoric humans with just the beginnings of technology. And you might think that there's no way that we could take down a dragon at this point in time, but it's important to note that even in prehistoric times, humanity as a team was taking down mammoths, which are pretty impressive creatures. They're giant, and they're a lot like dragons if you think about it. So let's do a little point-by-point comparison. A mammoth, like a dragon, is huge, and it has big tusks instead of big claws, but it does not have scales, and it is missing the crucial big three: is smart, can fly, breathes fire. So humanity at this point, we're still screwed, all right? Let's move on a few 100,000 years or whatever into ancient Greece and Rome. This period of time, we have a lot more technological advancements. Let's look at the warriors of this time. Let's take a look at some gladiators. You can see a picture of a gladiator here. The important thing to note about gladiators, though, is that they have shitty weapons. As you can see, this is a serious downgrade from the pike we saw in the previous picture. This thing is only like a foot long. It's clearly inferior. And the other thing to know about gladiators is that they are obviously cowards. They're cowards because they're not fighting mammoths, they're fighting lions. And lions, they have big claws and they have cool hairdos, but they aren't even huge, and they are totally missing the big three. So we're still screwed on that front. But if you move on to a Roman military tactics, we've got these shield formations from the Roman military. Now, this sort of formation would be very effective against a fire breath attack from a dragon. However, if the dragon just turns around and does one quick tail whip, it knocks down the entire formation, and then the fire comes down and they are all dead. So we're going to have to move forward a little bit farther into the future to medieval times. Now, medieval times are the period of time in which this myth of slaying dragons comes from. So they might show some serious promise here. Let's look at some of these myths that have been passed down to us. We look here, we can see a depiction from a classic Disney animated film, Sleeping Beauty, of a knight slaying a dragon. And this is his loadout that he comes with the horse and the sword and the shield and the cool cape. And he goes and slays this dragon. And this is what that slaying blow looks like. Now I want you to analyze this. Take notes on what this sort of looks like. And if you're a lot like me, then you will think that that sword injury looks a lot like a toothpick in that giant dragon. And I don't think that that would kill a dragon at all. So makes you wonder, where did this whole idea even come from? Where did the idea that we could slay a dragon come from? Now, I'm going to show you something very surprising here. This will be a real medieval drawing of a knight slaying a dragon from medieval times where this idea came from. Take a look at this. You see this dragon right here? Take a look at that dragon. You'll notice that it's not huge. It doesn't have big claws. It has scales, yes, but it's clearly not smart. It can't fly, and it's only maybe breathing like a little tiny bit of fire, but not that much. And furthermore, look at this right here. You see that? This dragon is chained up and being held down by a helper. This is cowardice. This knight here, this is a coward. So, it's completely ridiculous to think that that a single person could be taking down a dragon at this period of time. We're going to have to move on to siege weaponry, something a little larger than a single warrior with a sword. And around this time, you will have things like trebuchets. This is something that you might see in a movie of a trebuchet trying to shoot down a dragon. Unfortunately, for humanity, trebuchets are made out of wood, and of course, you know what that means. Yeah, they're going to get completely destroyed by the fire breath. Now we move forward a few hundred years and we come to a milestone year in humanity's quest to have the power to slay a dragon. This is the year that Christian missionaries from Europe traveled to India to meet Emperor Akbar the Great, which brings together technological advancements from across the world, and this inspires Akbar's personal doctor to invent a revolutionary new device pictured here. What is this? This is a hookah, and the hookah was the first thing that was capable of making a person high enough that he thought he could slay a dragon. Sorry, Emperor Akbar, but the only thing getting smoked is you. We're going to have to really advance our technology here, and that comes at the Renaissance. Humanity has seriously leveled up by this point. We've got more hat, we've got more flamboyance, we've got crazy eyes. Take a look at this guy. And crucially, we have more manufacturing skills, which allows us to produce firearms. Now, guns, cannons, these sorts of things are what's going to give us a serious advantage against the dragon. Now, let's take a look at something which might have a chance, and that is the cannon. Now, what we're going to have to ask ourselves is, could a cannon slay a dragon? Well, let's look at some of the evidence. Here is what a cannon ball shot from a cannon did to a brick wall around the Renaissance era time frame. That pit right there. And you can still see the cannonball lodged inside. That is some serious damage to something as powerful as a brick wall. And I do personally think that that could slay a dragon if we were able to hit the dragon with a cannon. Unfortunately, as you can see from this cannon, it is firing at a horizontal trajectory, and as we all know, that is not the trajectory you're going to need if you're going to want to shoot a dragon. It's going to come from above, and we are going to be destroyed by it. So that's still not going to do it. We're going to have to level up all the way to the modern battle techniques, all right? Let's look at what we can do now with the level of technology we have in the modern day. We have the power to make a technological imitation of the power of the dragon. Now let's remember the crucial key features of a dragon. It is huge, it has scales and big claws, and the big three is smart, can fly, breathes fire. Now let's look at how the attack helicopter compares. It is also huge, it is armor plated, it's got a big propeller instead of big claws, and it is smart because it's piloted by a person, can fly, and instead of breathing fire, it breathes lead, which some would argue is even more dope. But there is one key feature that the attack helicopter is missing, and that is that a dragon can walk, and a helicopter cannot walk. So it's really no contest. Walking is a very simple thing, and it's also going to be very useful in combat. We are going to have to get to our final, most powerful weapon against the dragons, which is motherfucking goddamn surface-to-air missiles. There's nothing a dragon could do against this, right? You shoot a missile at it, it follows it just like it would follow a helicopter, and it shoots it down out of the air, and it blows it up, and it's dead, right? Well, let's consider the evidence. What can modern fighter jets do against a surface-to-air missile? That's right. We have a little something called chaff. This is what it looks like. You shoot off from the jet a whole bunch of hot material, and then the plane will bank hard in one direction to dodge the heat-seeking missile, which will be following the chaff instead of the plane. Now, I want you to look at this picture and ask yourself, does this look familiar to you? It should look familiar to you because it kind of looks like fire breath. Now, this is where the big three really come into their own. It's smart, can fly, breathes fire. Now, here's what this dragon is going to do. It's smart. It knows that that surface-to-air missile is coming. It's going to breathe the fire to attract the heat-seeking missile to the fireball, and then it's going to bank hard, dodge the missile, fly down, and destroy the launcher. So, even in the modern day, humanity, we're screwed, and the dragons win. So, in conclusion, dragons are cool as fuck. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thank you very much.